Hi everyone, it's Lynn with the Lies Family Kitchen. Today I'm going to show you how to make chicken tender and juicy for stir fries like the Chinese restaurants. It's a technique known as velveting. It works with both chicken breast and chicken dark meat. After velveting, I'll show you how to cook the chicken 3 different ways: boiled, sauteed in a wok, or fried in oil. I'll explain the differences and tell you when to use each cooking method. And finally, I will share with you how to apply this technique to other recipes. Let's start with slicing the chicken. What I have here is a piece of chicken breast about 10 ounces. The best way to slice chicken for stir fry for tender texture is to slice it against the grain. On this chicken breast, you can see the direction of the grain. I'm pointing it out with my finger. Before slicing, I'm going to trim the fat and tendons off the chicken breast. Cut the chicken into 3 large pieces and then slice each into thin strips about 1/4 inch thick. This is what the chicken should look like when you cut across the grain. If you cut along the grain, the chicken pieces will easily fall apart during the marinating and cooking process. It would break into strings and therefore have a stringy texture. It is not as tender in my opinion, so I don't recommend it. Now let's put the chicken in a bowl. For velveting, we're going to need 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 2 tablespoons of water, 2 teaspoons of oil, and 2 teaspoons of cornstarch. Let's start with adding the salt to the chicken and water. The water gives the chicken more moisture and makes it more juicy. So give it a quick massage and let the chicken absorb some of that water. Okay, you can see the chicken absorbing the water because there's less and less of that standing water in the bowl. Okay, so now we're going to add some oil to help seal in that moisture, and the oil makes the chicken easier to separate when you cook it. Now we're going to add the cornstarch to it. I'm going to use my hand to get the rest of the cornstarch out. And gently massage it. Make sure it mixes evenly. How you mix it really doesn't matter. What's important is the cornstarch. That's what makes the chicken silky smooth, tender, and juicy. Okay, so now we're going to set this aside, ideally for about 15 minutes if you have time. Unlike tough cuts of beef that are chewy and requires baking soda to help break down the muscles to tenderize, chicken is already naturally soft. The problem with cooking chicken is that it can get dry after you cook it. So to keep the chicken tender and juicy, what we need is not baking soda, it is starch. Cornstarch, tapioca starch, potato starch are all good options for this. Some people use a combination of starch and egg whites. I found minimal difference in texture and flavor whether or not egg whites used, so I'm not using it. However, if you would like to use egg whites, simply substitute water for the same amount of egg whites. For stir fries, meat is usually cooked separately from the vegetables. We would start off with cooking the meat until it's 80% done, set it aside, cook the vegetables, and then throw the meat back in to finish. For chicken, you can cook it 3 different ways. For the health conscious, boiling is the best way to get that silky smooth, tender, and juicy texture. If you want nice wok hay flavor, then you can saute it in the wok. If you want the most flavor, you can fry it in oil. It would also add a very nice crispy on the outside but tender on the inside texture. I'm going to show you all 3 so you can see the differences. Bring a pot of water to boil. Once the water is boiling, turn the heat down to medium-low. And then put the chicken inside. Gently stir it to break the chicken apart. We're going to be cooking the chicken again, so remember not to overcook it. We just need the chicken to turn opaque, then it's time to remove it. Like now, it looks good. Time to remove.
Boiling is a method often used in Chinese restaurants because it is fast and easy, and it delivers the most tender and juicy texture.
Now I'm going to show you how to saute this in the wok. So with the wok on smoking high heat, drizzle about 2 tablespoons of oil in there. You're going to see smoke from the oil just to tell you that the wok is extremely hot. I'm going to use about half of the chicken that I velveted. And then spread it on the bottom of the wok. Cornstarch makes the chicken sticky, and it's totally okay. And wait for the chicken to cook a little bit, and it'll get caramelized, and then the chicken will be released easily. So give it a turn. Again, we're cooking the chicken to about 80% done. This looks good.
Sauteed in the wok is most often used in home cooking because there's no need to wash another pan, and it has added smoky wok hay flavor and a little bit of crispy texture.
The last way to cook the chicken is to fry it in oil. I have about 1.5 cups of oil brought up to 375 degrees. So I'm going to take the chicken and then drop it in there. I'm cooking about 5 ounces of chicken here. Unlike boiling and sauteing in the wok, we're going to cook this until the chicken is a little bit crispy on the outside, so the chicken will be fully cooked. Now the chicken is slightly golden brown, so it's time to get them out.
Flash frying in oil is also a method often used in Chinese restaurants because it adds the most flavor, and it gives the chicken a crispy on the outside, tender on the inside texture. I encourage you to try all 3 methods so you can find your favorite. No matter how you cook the chicken, the process to finish the stir fry is exactly the same. I will demonstrate by cooking a chicken mushroom dish. You can find the recipe and ingredients in the description below. Mix all the sauce ingredients together in a small bowl and set aside. Sauté the vegetables until they are browned and soft. Add ginger and garlic and give it a good stir. Throw in the chicken and pour the sauce mixture over. Give it a good stir, and the stir fry is ready.
So how can you apply this velveting technique to other recipes? Remember, the key ingredient to make the chicken tender and juicy is starch. So look for the marinade ingredients and see if there is already cornstarch or a different type of starch in that ingredient list. If there is, then there's nothing else you need to do. You're all set. If there is not, then what you want to do is to add cornstarch and a little bit of water to the chicken marinade. How much should you add? What I normally use is 1 teaspoon of cornstarch plus 1 tablespoon of water for 5 ounces of chicken.
For my family, I usually boil or sauté the chicken in the wok. I would love to know which method of cooking is your favorite. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.